what was going on out here. First they were saying it was stolen, then they were saying it wasn't stolen, but definitely just saw it doing donuts in front of the officers out here. This is going to be on Lincoln Boulevard, and this is going to be in the city of Venice. And you can see right there, LAPD kind of holding back right now. We did hear that they do have approval to do a pit maneuver if it becomes safe enough and this vehicle is not around any other vehicles. You can see it making a move right there. I'm going to push some buttons, and I'm going to get you guys up here the information that you guys want to see, and we're keeping an eye on it. But LAPD, they're in the air. Guys up here the information that you guys want to see, and we're keeping an eye on it. But LAPD, they're in the air. They're also talking about using spike strips. Got to move Skyfox around. There you go. Is hiding behind the tree. They are also using, talking about going to be using spike strips here in just a moment or two to try to disable that vehicle. During this pursuit, not pursuit. Oh, there's the spike strips. didn't try to sneak up on that car at all. He did run him over. Don't know if they worked yet. We're going to have to keep an eye on that for sure. But again, this is a pursuit. It's happening right now. We are in the Venice area, heading northbound. Going to be entering Santa Monica here in just a moment or two. And you can see that LAPD, they're trying to stop this vehicle safely this afternoon. And you can see that vehicle continue to move there on Lincoln Boulevard.
Wow, so we're talking about the area of Lincoln Boulevard and Pearl Street at this point, and you see that black Honda. This is the vehicle of interest, and that driver, making another UE right here. And initially, we believe, getting information from our assignment desk and possibly from a police scanner, that the initial attempt was that this vehicle attempted to ram a police unit. Are you hearing that?
That's right. Yes. That's what we were trying to confirm, or just trying to find out what was going on out here. But you can see LAPD, they are kind of standing back. They are keeping a little bit of a distance. That helicopter above, they're going to keep an eye on it as well. And while we were showing you those officers, made another wide U-turn out there. That vehicle, the driver acting extremely erratic. These are one of those situations where you just don't want, or LAPD, they just don't want to be too aggressive because you just don't know the mental state of that driver. And they don't want to put that driver in a situation where he's going to endanger himself and or officers, or maybe make an aggressive move, and then this turns into something a lot more tragic. Right now, though, that vehicle continuing to move here on Lincoln Boulevard. He hasn't made any aggressive moves towards any other vehicles. That's a huge plus. We haven't seen anything aggressive towards any civilians either. But this is definitely one of those situations where the officers on the ground, they have to be calm, they have to be collected, and they all have to work together on how they're going to bring this to an end peacefully. It does appear that that spike strip, when they threw it out there, you can see it pretty clearly. All four wheels, or at least these two wheels, are still pretty solid down there. So don't think that if he did run over those spike strips, it didn't take to the tires. So those tires are still solid. What are they going to do? Well, right now it's kind of keep a distance, keep an eye on this person. If this situation stays the same, this might go on for quite a while. But again, you can see this vehicle starting to move, obeying some of those traffic signals, and you can see everybody else kind of just pulling over and getting out of this person's way. So there must be at least lights and sirens. We made our way over to the 10th freeway.
Yeah, it's one of those situations when you watch a pursuit, at least from our vantage point, is that you want to, if we could, warn all these drivers the fact that there's a person that's obviously not in a mental state where they should be sharing the road with these innocent drivers as well, but clearly somebody who is impacting safety concerns because of the fact that LAPD is in pursuit of this black Honda that we are focusing on right here, that we've seen make wide U-turns and loops on Lincoln Boulevard, and you're seeing a street which is kind of crowded at times, especially during lunch hour, a mix of retail and residential. And so, yeah, that is the big concern in terms of any pedestrians or other vehicles that could be impacted by this. But as of right now, it does look like this driver is sort of obeying the laws at this point. Unfortunately, that spike strip didn't work, and right now he is turning off of Lincoln onto what looks like Colorado Avenue.
That's right, Colorado, and we're just turning, we're making an eastbound turn here on Colorado. And you know what, you're right there. The driver is acting erratic, kind of trying to get the attention of officers, but thank goodness not being aggressive towards any other drivers. And right now it seems to maybe have been rethinking this and now just kind of driving more relaxed, more normal, and making our way away from those areas where that, like you said, had a lot of civilian traffic in the area. Right now, you can see it getting behind that RV, and I'm just getting a little bit of a wider shot here. The officers are really falling back. They are still close by. You can see those lights and sirens are on, so at least the public is getting an idea that something, it may be amiss around here, but it seems like now this vehicle just trying to blend in, and it's doing a great job right there. But as soon as we see this light change and that vehicle has that opportunity to maybe get around or do something, we're going to keep an eye on it. That shadow you're seeing right there, that's going to be the LAPD airship. They're over it as well. They're trying to figure out how to bring this to an end safely and without any kind of incident or anybody getting hurt. Then that seems to be their big concern right now.
Yeah, certainly this vehicle of interest is a black Honda, is stuck in traffic, and so with very little opportunity to go, okay, so it's moving right now, this vehicle, and it's interesting, we do see a clear shot of the driver with his window down, wearing a tank top, cruising around, looking like he's not really bothered or affected by all this, but I guess figuring out where to go next. Clearly, this area can get congested with vehicles. You have the rail metro crossing right there as well. And Colorado and 12th Street we're approaching, and this area, again, a mix of residential, business. We know that there's a lot of pedestrians, cyclists in this area occasionally as well, especially around noontime in the Venice-Santa Monica area. It could get crowded in terms of the fact that there's only one lane of traffic in this neighborhood. So it could be a tight squeeze for him.
Well, it could be a tight squeeze, and it also could be just what I was going to say right there. There's another spike strip attempt, and that was going to be at Colorado and 14th Street, and that officer did throw that spike strip out, and it does seem like this time he did drive over them. So, again, we've talked about this in the past. It isn't like in the movies where the tires just blow out and the car's riding on the rims. These are little tiny nails that go into the tire, break off, and they're hollow. So they're just going to start losing air very slowly, and this gives that driver the opportunity to, either pull over, figure out what to do, and also it doesn't put not a safety risk to anybody. Right now, though, the vehicle's starting to pick up a little bit of speed, but again, just keeping his distance from those officers. And again, this is the deal. The officers are not crowding him. He's not staying away from the officers. The officers are actually staying away from him, just kind of giving him the room to do whatever he needs to do and make a wise decision, maybe pull over. But right now, that driver just seems to keep on going here. We're going to stay on Colorado. Looks like, here comes another U-turn, and it seems to be like one of his favorite things to do. Maybe he's going back to try to take out the other side of the tires, but that officer's picked up that spike strip, so he's not going to have that opportunity.
And you see some people in the surrounding area looking around, figuring out what's going on, maybe hearing the commotion, and obviously seeing that chopper overhead, too. Because of the fact that LAPD is monitoring the situation, we see the shadows overhead.
There's some more spike strips. More spike strips. Yep, more spike strips. So he might have, I was making that joke that he wasn't going to be able to drive over him again. That officer, pretty smart. He just hung out right there when I made that U-turn. He just took that opportunity and tried to put those spike strips out again. I would venture to say that at least one of those spike strips has got to have taken by now. And is that going to bring this to an end? I don't know. This Honda just keeps on moving right there. We're kind of going back the way we came. And it does seem like it's leaning a little bit, making what are we doing here? What are we doing? You got some folks out there. Maybe he's going to ask for some fix-a-flat. Who knows? But right now you can see him. He's just kind of pulled over, getting out. These are the types of situations where you just have to worry about that person right there in his mental state. He's coming out. He's got his hands out. I guess that's all they really needed to do is flatten his tires, and now they're going to try to take him into custody. But again, this person being a little belligerent, but now following the rules. So I'm kind of curious to see how this goes. But again, LAPD, it is a difficult job for these guys, how to approach these things. And it seems like this time, just kind of standing back, using the tools that they have available, in this case, those spike strips, really making the difference this afternoon.
Yeah, good work on their part, making this a quick recovery in terms of being able to get this guy who was obviously, again, driving erratically, not in a good mental state for as far as we know, making those big donuts or those U-turns on these streets that are narrow. And there they are, making sure the car is clear. That's something they do in any case like this. But the guy gave up and is surrendering, which is good news.
Yeah. And you can see, I'm going to keep an eye on him as well, but you can see two flat tires on the driver's side, and that's really all they needed to get this guy just to pull over. Right now they're taking him into custody, LAPD. I have to say it, they did a good job with this one. They kept the public safe, and they were using their new policies, which was kind of interesting to watch and to see it come out in a positive way, Sandra. This is all, it's good. It's a lot of good news happening out here for sure.
Absolutely. Good news and good work, Stu and the crew up in Skyfox. Thank you so much for your coverage. We are glad this ended safely. And now we return.
So powerful. I can't wait to see. I can't imagine what is